a war zone. Yo, this a motherfucking war zone.
Alright, what's up my fellow Blender Discordians? Yeah, so we're going to try and keep this render roast pretty short. Hopefully under an hour. I'm going to give myself about 5 minutes to go through each of these renders, and we'll see how quickly we can get through this. Don't think I have anything I need to announce. You can find my portfolio at espresso.com if you're interested in looking at that. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first render we got here is by Saber. Like always, fully modeled in Blender and rendered in 3D Max Corona. My Corona. Alright. Really like this render, first of all, just for the pure modeling aspect of it. You got all the curves. I don't see any mesh errors whatsoever. Even in some of the places it's really hard not to get errors, such as these tight little areas. Really good modeling on this, from what I can tell. A little bit soft possibly right here. But that might be how the actual car is. You said it is a Porsche Cayman GT4. Yeah, so modeling's top notch. I love the fact that you render in Corona as well. Not because of the Corona pandemic, just because so many people are focused on using Blender and only Blender and won't get outside, try other software. It's nice to see expand with the rendering options. I love seeing people use Substance and ZBrush, because that's how Blender's actually going to get implemented to the industry, if it ever does, is when it starts adopting other software. Because, yeah, it's just not feasible to use Blender for everything. Anyhow, I digress. So the only issues I'm really seeing with this is mostly to do with the floor on this. Which clearly you didn't put much effort into it, you know, just a little bit of asphalt texture or whatever that is. It just looks really flat, and it kind of pulls me away from it. The lighting was a little bit soft there. It's like it starts out as a harsh shadow. It doesn't feel right the way that softens out. It's kind of a bright light from this angle. Now, if you're doing this as like a modeling sort of deal, now I'm not sure if I looked at the ArtStation page. Let me check it out. You might. Alright, so none of that's entirely useful. I'm glad you put these matte caps in there, but they don't look all that clean. Maybe just make your own material and render it out with this. So like I don't know if you have to use a wave texture on that maybe, and that might kind of give the look you're going for there. I know what that's for, to find any imperfections in the modeling and stuff, which actually it looks like, no, that would be that area right there. Okay. But this is a really bad way to present a wireframe. There's a way to do it with freestyle. Using freestyle, it's really just really clean. It uses the open subdiv, so it won't show your subsurf modifier, and you get that really clean looking topology. I found a video on YouTube that I used to learn how to do it. I don't have a link to that, but it wasn't hard to find. There's a guy, he offered many different ways of making it, so making a wireframe, I'm sorry. So yeah, I would try to do that and get some clay renders out like that. It's a pretty, ain't doing this render yet. It's a pretty good way to present a clay render, in my opinion. And really showcase the topology that you have there, because that looked pretty clean, but you had a lot of areas also that you wasn't showing. Additionally, you could also just enable, if you're going to do your clay render like you did, enable the mirror and your subdiv in edit mode, and then also grab all your objects and take them into edit mode and do it with all of them. That way you can see all the topology on everything. Aside from that, brilliant job on texturing those tires. Yeah, just really great attention to detail on the car itself. Maybe a bit too much glare on these lights. It's a little bit off-putting since you don't actually have the headlights on. Those are just like the fog lights, I guess. It's a little strange, but I'd turn the headlights on because that looked pretty sweet. But that's just my opinion. Moving on, we got this next render. This is by Mr. Apple. Mr. Apple, I'm assuming you followed the Andrew Price famous tutorial on making a donut. You did a really good job in following it. It looks like a pretty good donut you got there. I like the crumbs on the plate. That looks pretty good. Really like the coffee shader you have there. The volume absorption, I'm assuming, is what you use. It really looks quite convincing. So a couple of the errors I see on this is the black that you're getting on that cup. You can get rid of that by turning up your light paths. Hop over to Blender real quick. You're going to want to go down to light paths and just really turn up all of this. There used to be settings for doing it beforehand, but those seem to be gone right now. So, gone 2.79 update. One moment. Alright, I'm back. So yeah, there used to be a bunch of presets for this, but I guess they're gone now. But basically, you just want to turn these up, and that'll get rid of those blacks. Because that's the black you're seeing there is because the light's not actually able to bounce through glass that many times. So it's just creating a shadow there, essentially. You might want to try to put a texture down on the ground. If you use a PBR texture, it'd be easy to set up and give a good looking result, maybe of a one tabletop or something. You can probably find that on Polygon or textures.com is a really good site, and you get a lot of free textures on there. What else? The plate looks pretty good, but if you add a couple bevels in here, you get like a nice rim going on to just add a little indentation there, and it might be a nice little touch of detail. Aside from that, looks pretty good, I think. Moving on, this next one is by Mr. Apple as well. No, Los Angeles. Alright. So this thing here is giving off a lot of Matrix vibes for me. Anyhow. Alright, so I'd probably up the roughness on the walls. These reflections are a little bit sharp. That maybe you have like a cube there with a light. Maybe use that flat or two cylinders to insinuate those fluorescent bulbs. Maybe do. It looks like you're trying to keep a pretty simplistic nature with this, so maybe just change the color of that to black, or at least the tabletop to black. And you don't really need to change the models. The chairs being white kind of looks good. I just add some contrast in there with that. I'd also zoom the camera in a little bit more so we're not getting this frame here. Maybe you want that frame, but I don't think you want that little overlap there. So it looks like it's sticking, the roof plane is sticking out a couple inches further and everything else. It's a little bit off-putting, and then it cuts off at the floor, so having the walls and roof stick out so much just seems a little bit strange. For now, the focus point is just the two chairs and table. Maybe you could add some props in there, give an idea of like what was going on in the scene. They could also be a little poly like this. You'd stick to this look. Maybe also change the color of the floor and roof to give additional contrast. And I think this scene would be pretty much set. Again, this scene was done by Mr. Apple as well. Alright, next render. This in here is done by Tasteful Brick. Alright. Alright, so this is Minecraft looking scene. Let's see, Island 2066 by Blockworks, rendered in cycles. By Blockworks. I do hope you made this yourself. Okay, I'm guessing Blockworks is probably a software that you made this in and just imported and rendered it. Alright, so I see a sunset in the HDRI, it looks like, based on these pink tones I'm getting back here. But you're not really insinuating that with the lighting. You could add an area lamp, depending on when the sun is in your HDRI. Probably from up in this direction with pink tones to try to give it a little bit more color and stuff. It kind of looks like the HDRI isn't even affecting lighting. Like you got gray cast and then just some area lamps on this or something. Try HDRIhaven.com. It's got a lot of great HDRIs you can play with. get the lighting up to snuff a little bit better. These don't really seem to be giving out light based on just the color of the glass in there. Now, I'm not really one to critique the Minecraft renders. I don't know too much about them. So I think what I said was a grain of salt on this one. But the lighting's really the only thing that's off-putting to me. I think the scene itself is, I really like the scale of it. It looks really good as far as dimensions and everything goes. I think this one door is a little bit big here compared to these, which are also doors, I think. If not, they probably could use like a window frame like that, but they're touching the ground. So it's just a little strange the way that is, but Ireland 2066. I guess it's like a library or a college or something. I don't even know. Yeah, I'm really not sure what to tell you with this one. It's more of a lighting thing. I would just maybe find an image that's similar to this, that's real, and just try and mimic that lighting. That might help it a little bit. You probably need to figure out if it's a daytime scene or a nighttime scene. You sort of have a blend going on here where it's pretty dark, but you still have some sunlight. So if it's nighttime, just use the light off these, darken the sky a little bit. If it's daytime or sunset, try to use more of the sky to light it and less of the lamps. That's about all I got for feedback on that. Next render we have by Peach. I really like the story of this. Definitely getting some Toy Story vibes off this one. So you actually went all out and made a full scene here with a story. She got like a banana. She's playing space. She wants to be an astronaut, not astronaut in training. That's cool. So we know who she is. It's Phoebe. She's 7 years old. She's really into space. She wants to be an astronaut when she grows up, and she wants to fight aliens and all that stuff. I love how much story's there. Also, that's like the NASA logo, but it's also not. That's cool. Space. So yeah, it's really cool scene. The thing is the first thing that really sticks out to me is her face is like it's pretty creepy, man. Her nose kind of melts in there, but it's also got the nostrils, so it's like not a cute nose. If you're going for that, I'd make it more like the Kleenex commercials. You kind of blend it like a Kleenex commercial, the kids on there, and real life. So it's like too high detail for those commercials, like the look on there. But it's also too much like those to look real. It's a bit creepy. Her eyes are also really dark, like where the whites of the eyes are. She has like no eyelid going on here, having like bigger eyelids and more emotion in the eyes, I think. Maybe like squinting like she's gonna shoot it. She's like gonna jump around the corner and shoot, like excited. I don't know. I love the attention to detail in the box though, and like tape coming over it. That's awesome. Yeah, the shirt also it kind of sticks out. You probably should get in sculpt mode and take some of this down. It's a heavy sweater, but keep in mind with gravity and stuff. Get some wrinkles in there, and just get some good reference on Google, really, of sweaters and little kids and stuff wearing sweaters, and just kind of go off what you see on there. A lot of these toys look like they're floating quite a good bit, so I'm guessing you used a particle system, but it was animated, so it went up a little bit. Set your frame to 1, not 0, I think. Then make sure you're on frame 1. End animation on frame 1. There's a few settings you have to change for that, but you just have a look at that. If you're using a particle system for those Lego blocks, that's why they're floating, probably. Did I say a lot? That Rubik's Cube doesn't look right. But it's better than a solved Rubik's Cube, so whatever. I think it just needs frames around each of the color swatches there. Not sure. Lighting could probably be worked on. That gradient could probably be replaced with just white in the window. Most of the time when it's daylight, your window gets pretty washed out when you take a photo of it. It's just so much brighter than the interior. If not, put a scene in there and try to white that out, or maybe a couple textures of trees would be sufficient. A lawn, although depending on how far the tree line is, you won't see much of a lawn. So yeah, that's about it for that one, to be honest. I just really like the story she was going for with that. Probably check comments. Reminds me. Yeah, it does remind me of the Ice Age baby. You're right about that, Kevin Lorangel. Probably just butchered your name. Sorry about that. But Minecraft export does. Yeah, definitely. And that Ice Age baby was really creepy. So, but that might just be me. Alright, next render we got by Cesium 55. Or Cesium 55, but I'm pretty sure that's Cesium 55. English isn't my native language. Sarcasm's my native language. But anywho, this is a cool render. I'm not even sure what it's like a cross between Atlantis and Ice Age. But also in like this. Also like, was Sentinel? No. The Blender in-house animation they did that was directed by Colin Levy. I think that was Sentinel. The one where she had like the dragon or whatever. One of the really early ones. It reminds me of Atlantis. That one. Or was Sentinel the robot one? I don't remember. Or Sintel. Yeah, Sintel. That's what it was. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, Sintel, Atlantis, and it was pretty awesome. It was really amazing for where Blender was at that time. Sintel, Atlantis, and Ice Age had a baby. And maybe this is like the wolf from Ragnarok. And kind of like Game of Thrones too. Just get all the movies in there. I really love the environment on this. I don't know how to make an arrow. Anyhow, this tree is a little strange. Mostly like in here. I can't tell if that's like just the distortion is. I don't know. It doesn't look like the rest of these trees though. But that just might be the way, like where it is with the camera and depth of field and stuff messing with me. So a couple things. First of all, I would definitely sculpt this. Like this is a pretty big looking wolf. So I would sculpt the snow and put him down like a few inches into it. He should also probably have some fur on his feet. It just occurred to me you don't have much fur on his feet at all. Like it pretty much ends here. So there's should be several layers of hair particles here. This here would be a shorter fur, but it's still quite a bit of fur on his legs. Man, that's a pretty good looking wolf though. The fur here shouldn't be like laying down like that unless his tail just got wet. Then it'd be laying down even more. It should be more out. Like you have on the tail, or the end of the tail here. It just looks like it got brushed or something too much. See, it reminds me of Scotty. I don't know about Scotty. I don't actually speak two languages, Kevin. I was just messing. English is unfortunately it's the only language I speak other than sarcasm. So I'm American. Speaking 2 languages, it's called being bilingual. Speaking 3 languages, trilingual. Speaking 1 language is American. That's about sums it up. So yeah, let's get back to this. One of the things that bothers me is she's got like a gingerbread mask on, which I now see that's supposed to be like a fox or something, but it definitely looks like a gingerbread man. Another thing is that wrist gets really thin there, much like her spear. That's like a 1/4 inch thick right there, 1/2 inch. You get a lot of subsurface scattering, SSS on that. Nah, it's just American, Kevin. But yeah, yeah, a lot of subsurface scattering. It's letting them caffeinated. I'm not gonna yeah, it is subsurface scattering, maybe, I don't know. A lot of that stuff on there. So it makes her arm look even thinner. I get it's like a little girl riding a big wolf with a spear, and it's pretty sweet in its own way. Also, that red is like too much. It's too saturated on there, I think, compared to everything else anyway. Caffeine's starting to wear off too. It's just a bit strange, I think. It should be, for one, more pure as well. It's a bit too... I don't know. It just seems off, and I feel like I should be able to tell you why, but I can't. Yikes. Yeah, it looks good, but it just something's a little off with it. And it's probably something I have to pull up reference and compare and contrast, but I don't want to be looking up Bloody Wolf and then get the video taken off YouTube for it. So, yeah, gonna leave that one be. No bone arm. Subsurface scattering. Okay, it is subsurface scattering. Yeah, the arm has no bones, which, I mean, you buy boneless chicken, so why not boneless chick? That was probably politically incorrect to say, but whatever. It would be better. For the blood on the mouth, the trees are too bright. Okay, yeah. Well, the trees are covered in snow, so I kind of get why they're that bright. It looks like they're pretty dark green over here. Really like the environment on this. And the lighting, it really looks good. The shader on the snow looks good. The snow does look a little bit hard, but that'll be taken away with a little bit of sculpting. And I think that should be good. Now, there should be rock, or there should be snow on that rock too, because... I mean, why wouldn't the rock have snow on it? But, yep, I've got to move on. Spend too much time on that. Really nice render, though, by Cesium55. This next one's by Rami. Definitely getting some Stranger Things vibes on this one. The first thing that stands out to me is these trees, because they're made with sapling generator. Used a grove, download some trees, or speed tree, or what was the free add-on? There's free Blender tree add-ons. Modular tree, I want to say. And it gives a lot better looking trees. The sapling add-on is just old, and it's garbage. It's just straight up garbage. Like, you can just spot a tree made with the sapling add-on from a mile away. It's sad, but it's true. The thing was made in like 2.6... maybe even before that. So, now, I mean, aside from the trees, the lighting on this doesn't look like the lighting on this. For one, there's no color in it. It's almost like this was I mean, yeah, it probably is a picture. It does really look like it's hitting the water and stuff though. But it's not affecting this whatsoever because you get like a white light off of that. So don't be afraid to go with like too much color on your lighting just to try it out at the very least. I mean, what's his name? Casper? Yeah, dude's amazing sculptor. He uses Blender, but he goes with this really strong rim light. It's always super saturated, but it kills it. I mean, it looks amazing all the time. Every one of his renders, like you can always see one of his renders just with the super strong rim light and the amazing sculpting, and it looks really good. So yeah, give it a go with some really strong colored rim, that pink color. Also, your light looks like it's coming too much from here as well, affecting that. Then you can use the grass essentials on that grass. Maybe break it up a bit with some texture and stuff to make it thicker in some places, thinner in others. Put some weeds in there. I mean, technically that all looks like weeds, but like some taller weeds in areas that help it a good bit. The water looks okay, but it's not actually interacting with like the ground over here. So you would usually have like the water a little bit calmer over here or splashing up against the grass. You also never have like grass on an even slope down into the water like that. I need trees, I make them free, so someone needs. Alright, sweet. Yeah, Kevin Lorenzo, what's your Discord tag? He says he'll make trees if anyone needs them. He with the grove. He says he has the grove. But yeah, the grass will never just ease into the water like that unless it's like kept like that artificially somehow. But usually the water will wash it in and make like a little cliff surface there. So the grass will come out over like this, and then your water level is down here, and you get like a little cliff surface where it's caved in most of that. Or you get a sandbank, which is also quite common. More common, I think, with water that rises and falls quite a bit. And of course in sandy areas. But those two ways are usually how the water will act. And this here doesn't show like the grass. It should definitely have less grass around the water, where the water's risen up, killed the grass and stuff. But yeah, that's about it. Love the vibes though, because you're getting really good blues and pinks in here. The grass is the only thing, like, it kind of pulls you out of it with the green. So I'd go more with the, what's that color screen? It's not monochromatic because you're using blues and pink, but it's two similar colors. I don't know, I need to go back and read through my art books. But anywho, moving on. This one here is by David Nickerson. Don't even need to look. I really like when you add the ant back up here on a rock, but the rock you had in here looked more like a clump of dirt than a rock. I would go with something a little bit more gray than what you had. The thing that sticks out to me with this, if you're not going to go with your ant and rock, is the ground doesn't have a whole lot of variation. Yes, it has like variation in pebbles and stuff, but there should also be like color variation. Unless this was like a potting soil, which then it would be blacker than it is. It's usually gonna have like chunks of stuff in it, like clay, sand, or it depends on where it is, obviously, but rock and whatever soil type you have. It's usually pretty mixed up whenever you till it. So where I live back in Ohio, we used to till our field. When you tilled it, you'd have chunks of little really light brown clay and stuff in it. It's never like one single color like this when it breaks up. So that's one thing to maybe toss in there. Maybe also toss in some little chunks of rock, like sandstone stuff. I don't mean like gravel. Little chunks of sandstone in here and some twigs and maybe some torn up grass or just stuff from when that is tilled. Now, based on the age of this plant's probably been growing for 2-3 days, depending on scale here, but probably about 3 days above ground, and depending on the germination period of it, probably about a week and a half old plant, which means it was probably tilled about 2 weeks ago. So you got to think about how much rain would have hit this. This looks like it's been pretty freshly broke up. Now this is also probably getting a little bit too far into it because I grew up on farm, but that's just some of the things that I'm thinking about. These smaller pebbles like this, they would have probably broke up pretty quickly after the ground, or they probably would have melted down, I'm sorry, after the ground was tilled and after like one rainfall. It starts melting down together. The lighting's pretty good. I would play with the color a little bit because at the moment it's very white. I think you told me you was using HDRI on this, so maybe just up the saturation, just play with it a little bit. I hate seeing white lights in scenes now. It's starting to bother me, so that might just be a pet peeve of mine, and you don't necessarily need to look into it too much. Okay, so Kevin just gave me his Discord if you need grow trees. It's Drachen Seal hashtag 1965. That's Drachen Seal, DRACHENSEELE hashtag 1965. Thanks, Kevin, for that. Yeah, amazing detail on this plant though. I really like the fuzz and everything he did. And the subsurface looks great. The droplet looks fantastic, and how broke up the soil is. It looks like someone stepped here and stuff. Like it's not just a perfectly level soil. That looks great. The background is a bit jarring to me as well. I mentioned that to you earlier in the Discord. It's a bit strange how there's like nothing behind it. Almost like this is like elevated on a little mound, and then it's just a patch of woods that drops like 20 feet, and then you see it behind there. So you need more of a field sort of look. If you could do, you need like more rows of this almost. Just blur down the background so you could see it, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Anyhow, moving on, I think this one's Birdie Bronze. Alright, so I looked at this one earlier. I think the main thing that you got to work on here, you did a fantastic job with the carpet, by the way. Just want to point that out. That's really convincing. I like all the little strands in there and stuff. Not sure if that's a texture though, because now that I look at it, it looks like it's a bit glossy up here and like it's reflecting off something flat. So that might be a texture. Yeah. I mean, that looks pretty good for a texture though, so. Your modeling looks pretty good on this, but I think you was relying too much on the subsurf modifier. Or you wasn't. So like the bridge in the nose here is super narrow. That definitely should widen out. And this here should be more concave right through here than it is. The smile sort of, it's like well rounded here, and then it goes like flat for a bit there. That should probably come out here more. And then that should probably be a bit smoother through there as well. Nose, I guess your mouse could look like that. This is one of those things where you kind of have to have the reference over on the side, and you just kind of, if you can find multiple references, or if this is something that you actually on, just go over every little thing. Take some pictures of it, like as far back as you can to get like an orthographic view. Zoom in on it. Take some pictures for background images that you can line it up to with the side and front profiles. And then try to line your model up to that and just go over it afterwards and just try to match as close as possible. There's not much I can say about it without looking at the model or the reference of this. But like places like that where it's really smooth and then you got the hard bevel there, it looks a little bit strange. I can't picture your reference being quite like that, but not sure without actually looking at the reference. Yeah, keep modeling on that. That's one of your better modeling pieces though that I've seen you do. So that's good progress. All right, next piece is by Lincoln, Mr. Lincoln Logs. Let's see. All right, so definitely getting some Stranger Things vibes on this one. I don't know if that was, but this it looks like the what's it called, the underworld? No. Yeah, the one that's underground, it's all the upside down, I think. Yeah, this looks like that creepy stuff that is growing in there. So I love the lighting and just the creepiness of all this. But the problem is this vending machine looks like the door. There's like, obviously you have this low samples and it's really low resolution and all that, but there's not a lot going on in the background here, which is distracting mostly just because of this line. So I'd add some trash cans and maybe get some, you really don't need to put a lot of detail on, but some general background buildings that you can just stick down here. Like this is a little hall or a little, English is failing me right now, back alley, alleyway going down through there. Maybe some curbs right here, some parking curbs going like where you can actually have designated parking spaces. And if you really wanted to get into it, I'd have the doors swinging open, the vines sort of coming out of there if you can. And if you really wanted to do something, I would definitely put like a guy trying to crawl away from it, like on his back, like kind of freaked out, like he got thrown out of there or something, and like crawling through the water. I think that just looked really cool. Like he's looking back at him, just sort of crab walking almost, trying to get away from it, trying to get back to the van. The van kind of looks creepy though, like it's a like not an FBI, but just a criminal in there. So is that like something someone's doing in there, or is this like a Stranger Things thing, basically? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities you could do with this. Definitely keep on adding props and stuff until you figure out what you want to do, especially like add trash cans and stuff and just some trash around it. If you're going for Stranger Things, add some more vines like on other stuff. But I love the vibe we're going for so far. And just the lighting and everything that you got going on this, I think it looks really cool. So, fantastic start. Keep working on it. Can't wait to see where this one goes. Definitely ping me when you get a higher res render on this. I'd love to see this in better resolution and more samples. On that note, I think that's it, which is good because I gotta get off here soon and head to bed and go to work in the morning. Lovely. Let's see, unfinished project, working on having critique story. Yeah, I think you're on a really good path with this one, Lincoln. I can't wait to see when you get higher resolution of it and start adding some more detail and stuff in there. Again, like it just the the blues go so good with this like pinks and stuff. It works so well. So Really can't wait to see where that one goes. Alright, so I think that's about it. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Next render roast is going to be done by Derek. I think he did the last one, filling in for... Is it abroad? I don't even remember. I should stay on top of this. Oh, God. I think the house just fell in. Anyway, rye bread. Okay. Anywho, that's it. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your week. And peace out.